So one more time, this is LA Poet Society. I'm Jessica, your poet and your teacher today. And welcome to Love Letters to 2020. This is our second event in this series. So this workshop series, again, is sponsored by poets and writers. And we're really excited to be able to have this avenue or this outlet for you as a way to confront and let go of 2020 and all that it entails, the good, the bad, and the hopeful. So you're gonna just need your notebook, a pen. Again, welcome to everybody that's here with us, first timers or returning guests from the LA Poet Society. Thank you. I know that we're going to be having a student from Spain joining us, so I just want to say big love to you and abroad, and we're so happy to have you joining this workshop. Everybody that writes with us in this series is going to be published in a chapbook called Love Letters to 2020 from Los Angeles Poet Society Press. We're going to have a digital release party on New Year's Eve at 6 p.m., so next Thursday. So if this is your first time in the workshop, no worries. I'll get you loosened up so that the creativity flows, or is at least it starts coming out a little bit faster. And so that means you also need to email me and follow up with me and send me your final poems and everything like that, so I can set up the chapbook for next Thursday. All right. So welcome back, everyone. I just want to, let me just double check one more time if anyone needed to get into our workshop that's not with us right now. Let's see. Okay, yes, Scott, you're here. All right, cool. I think that is good. Kiana may be joining us. All right. So first, I just want to say that this series is in 3 parts. So that means we're going to be exploring different depths of 2020 and how it's affected us and what we want to say to it. So in the last workshop, someone was like, hey, it's such a trip that you call it a love letter when you're asking us to talk about things that bothered us and that hurt us and that, that caused us pain. And so she's like, wouldn't it be like better to be a breakup letter? And I was like, that's pretty interesting. I like that. And she's like, but I want to do what you suggested and keep it as a love letter and just be, and just confronting someone that you love that hurt you very badly. So, every poem that we write in here is going to start with Dear 2020. So that's where we'll be going. So I'm going to rewind and take us back to the first time we met, the first workshop. So that way you all know, you're all on the same page and have the same opportunities that the other students had, because there is so many different emotions that this year has, that this year has put us through individually, as a family, as a community, as a citizen of a country, a society, as a citizen of the world. This pandemic is worldwide, right? It's it's everything and everywhere. So that means that everywhere on this planet, this virus has been, affecting people's lives and everything. So that means that it's connected us to the world even more, right? If we weren't consciously aware of our connection to the whole world and our connection as a human being on planet Earth, this pandemic is definitely making us aware of our place in the broader spectrum of our life, right? Of our lifespan, of how we live and how we communicate with others in our lives. It's forced us to be isolated in our homes, wherever that is. And it's also given us the opportunity to look at ourselves. It kind of forced us to look at ourselves. I'm being very kind about it, but it's made us look at ourselves and spend time with ourselves when, at least in the United States, the culture is very busy, right? The culture of the United States is work hard, play hard, 9 to 5, 40-hour work week, or, overtime and then some, or 2 or 3 jobs to get your rent paid. There's no time for you. There's no time to breathe. There's no time to be like, hey, I'm gonna just kick back and relax for a little bit and let it settle in. You know, there's not that time. And ironically, we live in a country that is so capital, they capitalize on everything and everything's mass produced. So we're seeing so many things like up for sale. So we're always being teased like, well, you might want this and you might want that. Want. Like, right? All these new inventions, all these new next level up versions of stuff we already have, we're always being dangled with that eye candy, like, you want this, spend your hard-earned money on this. So we're always wanting things. So, we live in a society where we're always busy, yet where we don't, we don't have time for ourselves or our wants or our needs. Not so much, really, not really. And but we're always being shown so many things that we could have. So we're always wanting stuff. We're always in the pursuit of things, you know, and we're always getting excited for the pursuit of things. Whether it's a good, like, like my hat, my beanie or something, or a service, right? Like, oh, get your nails done or get your hair cut or get your car detailed or you know what I'm saying? It's so you're always looking to get something and pay for something, right? So here we are, finally have alone time with ourselves. So all those things that we wanted and been trying to accumulate, because we still want stuff, even though we're too busy to do them. Like, let's say we still wanted a video game console, or we still wanted like the whole DVD set of The Sopranos, or we still wanted to get like the latest like MacBook Pro, or you know what I mean? Like, we still want those things, but do we have time to do those things? Those hobbies that we get excited about, and I got into beading and I'm going to buy everything to make jewelry and beading, and that's like that hobby that's just in the corner or in the closet, and you're like, well, I never had time to do it, but I'd like to. So pandemic forced us to kind of look at those things in our lives, the things that we've always been putting off, the things that interest us but we never have time to do, or we lost our job so we don't have anywhere else to go and we're just home and like forced to deal with ourselves, right? So there's the good, bad, and the hopeful of just 2020. So love letters is, because we looked at 2020 with great hope, didn't we? What do y'all think? How are you feeling about 2020 coming around the corner? A whole new decade, right? A whole new decade. Like, oh my God, 2020, this is going to mark a whole new chapter of my life. The 20s. We're in the roaring 20s right now, everyone. The roaring 2020s. We're not flappers right now. We are, 2020 cyber techie touchscreen generation folks now. But here we are, and there was so much joy for this new year and this new decade, right? So that's why this is, dear 2020, love letters to 2020, because we're letting it go. We're letting it go. And at first, it starts with confronting it, confronting 2020 and letting that anger out, letting out the sorrow, the sadness, the regret, the bitterness, that this is the first poem is your 2020 sock in the face. You're like, dang. I think Mr. Dio said last week, how dare you, right? Dear 2020, how dare you? And yeah, so there you go. There's your launch point for your angry letter, for your, not a breakup letter, but I want you so bad. How dare you do that to me? How dare you make me feel so sad? How dare you ruin my dreams of the year? How dare you take away my livelihood, right? All these feelings come up. How dare you make me be at home and nowhere else? How dare you take away my school? How dare you take away my access to my friends and my community? That's where we want to go for this first poem, for the first love letter to 2020. So let me share with you what we had from the first time when we met. So that way you have the same takeaways, that the first group had, and that you all have the same opportunity to share. Let's see here. Let me get into my folder. Let's see. Let me bring up. Oop, I'm showing. Am I showing my email? Oh boy. Well, here, let me get out of there. Uh, Here we go. Wait, no, that's the chat box. That's not what I wanted. Here, let me stop this for a second. Let me see if I can bring up. We had. Where is that? Oh, I know where it's saved. Apologies. I'm sorry about that. We're getting there. We're getting there. How are you, everyone? I'm sorry, I went right into it. I was like, oh, I know you've been waiting. So I was like, let's just launch, like boom. But hi. Again, happy Wednesday. It's good to see you. Sending lots of love to everyone. Happy, what is this? December 23rd. I was about to say this November 23rd. Like, where is my brain? This is a pretty special day for me. Someone I knew and loved was born on this day. I saw also, Angel, you posted that today is official unnamed day or something like that. That was pretty interesting. The unnamed day. The day about nothing day or whatever, right? It's like celebrated for being plain. We all need one of those. The plain old day. All right, let me see. Where is my picture? Is this it? Please be it. Mother. Let's see here. We're gonna get it. Sorry for this angle of my head, everyone. Hopefully I'll be getting a desk soon, so y'all won't have to get my big close-up mug shot here. Oh, here it is. Oh my God, I think I found it, everyone. Oh wait, no, that's from. Okay, just a sec. I'm sorry. Apologize. I didn't think it was gonna take so long to bring you here on the camera. Un momentito. But I think you get my vibe about what the first letter is, where that first letter is coming from, right? So that's the most important thing. It's you hurt me, dear 2020, you hurt me because, dear 2020, I'm angry with you because, dear 2020, you broke my heart, and now this, because right? So you just continue, you let it out. And how do we let it out? How do we let ourselves get deep? I know a lot of us are poets and writers, we're not new to writing, but how do we let ourselves go so deep to engage in something that hurts us, right? So, yeah, I found my notes. Well, the way we do it is that we use all of ourselves to examine what it is that we're going through. So actually, this is a great point, pivot point here. Oh yeah, hi. So good to see you all here. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. I found what I wanted to show you. So here we go. Here's our notes from last time. So again, the first love letter is the angry, right? The bitter, the angry. This is how you felt, when the virus was, known about, and when it went, made us get on lockdown and forced us to stay home, and when it, scared you, and when it scared people you love, and when other things might have happened to people you know and love, when some folks out might have had to battle the coronavirus, some folks that might not have survived, right? Or people, all that we take into consideration, right? The scope of this virus, it's beyond us. It affects us directly, but also it affects us, like I said, as a global citizen. We see how other countries have been affected. We see the death toll in our country and how it's affected people, right? So there's so much to take in. And sometimes that can make us feel angry and helpless and like we just have no control, So this is a chance for everyone here and everyone that's viewing this. This is a chance to purge those feelings of the hopes and fears, the anger, regret, the sadness, the joys. We're going to look at the positive today as well. We're going to be talking about the things that we can celebrate in ourselves and around us. We're going to look at those too. So this slide here, I'm on the left side of it in the red text. So this is like, Dear 2020, let it out, right? So last Wednesday we looked at anger workshop. I'm looking here at workshop 1. We looked at anger, sadness, regret. So the goal is to confront and let go. Okay. So for those of you that are joining for the first time today, on your notes, you can take a screenshot of this. You could, take a picture with your phone, whatever you're comfortable with. But the goal of the first workshop of the first love letter is to confront 2020 and let go of that anger. But we want to confront it first. We want to confront it. We want to hold its hand, look it in the eyeballs, say its name out loud. We want to confront it and let it go. And so how do we do that? How do we confront and let go? Let me give you a couple tips. And if you've taken a workshop with me, you may know where I'm gonna go with this. But here we go. Let's use green. So how do we let it out? Remember I asked you, how do we go deeper? How do we go deeper in facing these these fears, this anger, the regret, right? The negative, the sadness, right? The confrontation of 2020. So how do we go deeper? Answer is we examine with our whole selves. We examine with our whole selves. What are we examining? Well, we are examining what hurt us in 2020, right? That's where the anger, fear, pain, right? That's where it stems from. We're examining what hurt us, right? So we are examining with our whole selves. That's how we go deeper. And with our whole selves, what do we use? We use our 5 senses, everyone. I know it's very it sounds so simple, like the 5 senses. We still have them, right? It's one of the first things we learn when we're young learners. And, when we're 4 or 5 years old, we learn about our senses, and we don't stop learning about them. They're wonderful. They're what connects us to each other and to Earth. They're what keeps us alive, right? So our the hearing, sound, sight, touch, taste. What am I forgetting? Touch, taste, sight, sound, touch, taste. Did I do hearing? I did hearing. Help me out here. Come on, participation. Someone help me out. Let's see. Sight, sound. Oh my, it's just because I'm on the spot right now. Look, feel, touch, taste. Oh, come on, someone help me out.
No.
Oh, thank you. The one on your nose.
I'm pointing to the nose.
Oh, sorry, I have it where I don't see you guys right now.
Oh, okay.
I see the white screen. That's okay. Those that are watching online, they'll be like, oh, even teachers get stuck. So it's okay. It proves how we can get stuck. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so we use our 5 senses to examine our whole selves. Yes, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. The nose, the old nose right there. And we also have a 6th sense that pops in. I like to call, so our 6th sense is our intuition. You build up intuition by experience, by being alive. But that's also something that we use and that we can, hone in on to get more, more depth in our feelings and in our exploring our pain, right? Examining ourselves. All right. So that is a tip there. So that's how we can go deeper. So I want you to use this technique about going deeper, examining yourself, your whole self, to write your poem, your Dear 2020 poem, confronting your anger, your sadness, your regret, whatever it is that hurt you. For some of us, it was a direct hit. Maybe we lost our jobs. Maybe we lost where we live. Maybe we've been moved around so much because of it. Maybe we lost our friendships because we were forced to stay isolated and now you don't ever talk to anyone. Maybe we lost people we love literally to COVID, to the coronavirus, and definitely there's a sense of loss, I think, as someone that lives in the United States, there's a loss of trust in this country, because during COVID we've had such direct hits, racism, right? Systematic racism to our brothers and sisters, that many of us thought, or were in repression, that they have the same rights as us, and they do. Black people have the same rights as us. Mexican people have the same rights as us. Persian, Iranian, everybody, we're humans. We have the right to exist. We have the right to food, to shelter ourselves. We have all those rights. We have the right to pursue our dreams and live. And we saw so much agony that systematic racism is brought to our Black brothers and sisters, and was brought in our face, through the technology, because it's so readily available. But we saw it, and no one could look away from what happened to George Floyd. No one could look away to what happened to Breonna Taylor. And it just reminds us of all the other brothers and sisters whose names we've heard before, whose names we've wrote poems for before. The never again will we let this happen. Never again, will another, Black man or Black woman be killed at the police for, anyways, you know what I'm saying? So that has stemmed such loss and distrust, at least for me, I know on a personal level, as being a citizen of the United States of America. And I know I'm not alone in this. And perhaps, you're also feeling some of that too. So these love letters can cover, there's so much you could write about. And you don't have to just do one letter. If you want to write 5 letters about the anger to 2020, the Dear 2020, how dare you, I'm angry at you because of A, B, and C, and D and F and Z and triple Z, and you know what I'm saying? It's okay. This is exactly what this workshop is for. This workshop is definitely a way out. It's a way to confront and let go of this hurt. It's a way to connect with others who are also experiencing these types of hurts, this pain. And it's a testament to what we have endured, to what we have survived as a human in 2020. So I'm gonna take a breath right there. Snap, 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 snap. So I'll take a pause there. Just does anybody have any questions or any comments, or thoughts? And right now I'm just in regards to this whole project, the love letters to 2020, in regards to confronting, the anger, confronting 2020, or in regards to, what hurt us. Because, I welcome any comments, any questions. You have the floor. We also have the chat box too here in the class, and I'll be checking that out too. So if you want to comment or leave any remarks in there, feel free to use that, and also use that as a tool to connect with folks in this workshop too. Yeah, we're all one, baby. Yep, our intuition. Okay, let me check the chats just to kind of catch up a little bit. Oh, good. Oh, Scotty, you're the production, it went out, it started. Real good stuff. That's great. Oh, cool. We had some folks from Lebanon with us. Oh, Sidewalk Beirut really is from Lebanon. Oh, thank you. Hopefully it was enough for them to be able to get started. But yeah, this workshop, and let all your friends and family know, like we would love to have this be a testament and a collection of a good sized body of voices, but if it's a handful of us, it's a handful of us. But it's definitely an opportunity, to amplify what we're going through, and to document this time of our lives. This has never happened before. Our parents, their parents, maybe not either, like this is totally new, and such a rare instance of life right now, right? This pandemic. But yeah, that's we're all here together. So for me, when I'm writing, there was a question about how do I dig deeper? How do you dig deeper when you're writing? And I really do I take my own advice. When I'm writing something, I usually go off on a feeling. I try to hone in on a feeling, whatever my most dominant feeling is, in regards to an experience or a memory. And so I dive in that and try to like just own it, be in it, feel it fully with my whole self. So I use my senses, like I examine how I am feeling, when I got let down by someone I loved, how there might have been intuition, right? Some intuitive sense about maybe that this was coming that I missed or didn't see. Um, and then also in my poem, I'd want to record, take note of what I might have visually seen at that moment, of that I'm trying, what I'm trying to capture, or what I'm smelling in the room, or if I'm reminded of any smell, or if I can compare what I felt to something that has a smell, right? Because sometimes we're not like, well, I smelled limes at that moment, or I smell garlic at that moment. But if you were so disgusted, and your nostrils twisted up as if someone like were squeezing like like garlic juice right over your nose, and you felt, like that gives you an opportunity to be like, you're very like, you can see someone's face kind of like sour up and get tense, and kind of see like that disgust or that discomfort, you know what I mean? So that gives you the opportunity to add those types of details to your poem. Yeah, so I do that. I take myself through like all those senses, that intuition, the five senses, but mainly when I'm there, like I try my hardest to stay in that moment. I guess I kind of like go to like a movie theater in my head, and I've never really told anybody that before, but that is what I do when I am trying to write about something and really capture it. My goal as a writer, my goal as a poet, is to make you see what I saw exactly, to make you feel what I felt exactly, to feel it, to see it, to cringe where I cringed, to feel uncomfortable where I felt uncomfortable. I want that to translate to you, because that's when I feel that I did my job, where I was an effective writer, and I really brought it to you, as a writer through my words. You were able to really be there. So yeah, I go to that picture show in my head. Like I just kind of like transport, and just like if that was the moment when I was outside and it was warm, and there I remember ladybugs around my legs and I was 5 years old. Like I'm gonna try and sit in that memory for as long as I can, and force myself to look up and look around me, force myself to think of what I knew at that age, of like just relive it as much as I can to extract it and bring it to you. Boom, that's my answer. Did that help? That's how I do it. That's how I do it, brother. Brother and sisters. Brothers and sisters, actually. We have quite a few folks with us today. Yeah. So that's how I bring out a lot of that goodness. And you the more details the better. Yeah, sensory details. The more details, the more examination, the more retelling. you know, if you're a narrative poet, or you're a poet that just, you know, conversational, just says what you're feeling and how it is, you want to give as much detail as you can to make your story or your poem interesting, right? You want to make it unique. You want to make it like, okay, you're telling us a story, or you're telling us a memory of when you woke up and had to go to school. Okay, cool. But what was it that made it unique? What was it that um, made it memorable to you? And show us through your words, right? Show us, or make us feel it. Make us feel it. We want to smell it, feel it, hear it. You know, you want to recapture that. Yeah. So, well, story, okay, so the story in a poem. So there's narrative poetry. In a narrative poetry, some folks have been here in the narrative. Actually, Juan's here. I wonder if Juan wants to say it. But with narrative, that's when you're talking. That's being a narrator is telling someone like, I went to A and then I went to B and then I went back to C and then this happened to D and that's what happened, you know. That's narrative. That's saying, that's telling, very telling. Some of that telling, what makes that different than a story, like if you're writing like, on a winter's day I woke up at 5 in the morning and then I took my dog out for a walk and planted, I don't know, like I'm making stuff up, right? You're taking us through a chronology, you're setting up scenes and you're adding details, and you know, you're telling us like the whole story with all the different scope of what's happening like 360 degrees around this world that you're in, or that you're recreating, or, you know, fantasizing. Well, creating, we're creative writers, so creative writing, poetry falls in that. Fiction, that's story writing, right? Fiction falls in that. Creative nonfiction, so true stories but in a creative way. They use, you know, analogies, they'll use sensory details, things like that. And so with a poem, what makes it different than just telling a story when you do narrative is that you're doing the visuals, you're adding the sensory details, you're adding the visuals, you're adding the metaphor, right? You're creating those connections, examining. So you can be like really upfront with something and then take it back in and get real deep with it and make it so personal by telling, well, yeah, this happened, you know, like I woke up this morning, it was cold. It made me remember the time, you know, I don't know, when I had to take a cold bath when I was in 10th grade, and you know, it felt, and then you put in like some metaphor, right? Like, yeah, but anyway, so you're kind of telling your story, but you're adding more creative details. And yeah, so did that answer the question? There were some questions about the story. What's the difference between a story and a poem? So a poem isn't, it doesn't have to be chronological either. A poem, that's only a narrative, like that. A narrative poem is one type of poetry style. There's different forms and different formal ways to write poetry. There's rhyme schemes, there's lyric, like music lyric. Lyric is a type of poem. Acrostic poetry, when there's messages down the side, you know, when you free flow, or you're free writing and you're just letting, you know, you're thinking like water, that's what I like to call it, or stream of consciousness. That's kind of like a very, that's just a free, that's just free free verse or free writing. That's just no rules, you're just letting it out. You choose how you want to break your lines, you choose what sounds you want to emphasize, you choose the rhythm, you know what I mean? It's just however you want to express yourself. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Poems, they get more personal. Yeah, with a story, you're kind of bound to that, the technique of having to always tell and connect everything in plain language. You can't have it be very like, I mean, not that all poetry is coded. A lot of poetry is up front, but poetry can be very coded. We're saying so many different metaphors, you know, for saying like, I told the time today, instead of saying, oh yeah, I looked at my watch and told the time, you'd be like, well, I saw the shadow on the ground and I knew by the fluffy, you know, the way that the light hit the statue, it was 3 p.m. You know, like that's a poem like line, right? A little more. I mean, not that you couldn't write that line in a story, but you kind of catch my drift there. You know, you're not gonna just say, yeah, it was 3 p.m. and then you know, I got out of school and I saw my watch and then I walked down the street, and you know, that's the story. So the chronology, and the simple language, and very upfront language is a story. All right. So let's get back into our poem. So I want us to write, but let me bring it into what today's workshop is about. I wanted to catch everybody up that's joining us on how we were directing workshop number 1. So we're going to get into how we're going to be looking at workshop number 2, which is today. Again, thank you for joining. And we'll have an opportunity to write today, and then we can share. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And then the next Wednesday, we'll look at the hope. So I hope I was able, for those of you that this is your first time, I hope I was able to conjure enough up for like the regret, the anger, the how dare you 2020, or, you know, you hurt me so, dear 2020, you hurt me for the last time, you know, that kind of thing. I hope that I was able to steer you in there, steer you into that direction. So let me take a sip here. I have my holiday cola. I'm not trying to plug it, but I like that it's a sugar-free cola I can just enjoy for a minute. For those of you that know me well, you know I'm doing keto. You're like, what are you doing with all that sugar? Okay, so let's see. Let me look back at the slide that I'm sharing with you one more time. So here's how we go deeper. So in the green here, this is how you can go deeper. And basically into any emotion, any feeling, any memory, any experience you want to examine with your whole self. That's the 5 senses will help you recover details in any writing situation. Whether you're writing an essay, whether you're writing a love letter, whether you're writing you know, a story or a monologue or a joke, you know, your senses will never steer you wrong. Okay. Oh, and one more thing about the anger. I saw also in my notes here. Yay. Oh, y'all saying hi. Hi, everyone. So I also have here an example. Let me see if I can grab it. So in the blue here. So this is again, right, the workshop 1 of Dear 2020, or the love letters to 2020, the let it out, right? Anger, sadness, regret. So here's what you can do to kind of help conjure up some more of those feelings. Dear 2020, I was supposed to do ... You took that away from me, right? Doesn't that stir you up? I was supposed to do this year, and you took that away from me. But it's like, yeah, you took it away from everyone, but you took it away from me. Like this affects me directly. The me, the I, the one that you looked at in the mirror, right? Oh no, you didn't, right? You hurt me. Dear 2020, you let me down. 2020, dear 2020, you know, you want to bring out the heartache of the anger that you had, or did you have anger, right? Maybe some folks didn't have anger. Maybe it was more of a depression or a sadness. Maybe it was more of a fear or not liking the hopelessness, you know, which can also lead to anger. But, you know, one of these things, or maybe many of these things, are going to flag you, basically. You're going to feel that dominant feeling, right, from this, these phrases here. Like, did you have anger? For how, you know, for how long did it last? Did you have depression? How long did that last? We're asking, like, did you have depression? I have depression. Raise your hand if you have depression when this all started. You know, and it's like, raise your hand if you still have depression. You know, we're constantly reinventing ourselves. You know, I felt that this year, for me personally too, like, and this is, what are we in? We're in December. This really, the lockdown started in March. So what is that, 9 months, I guess, right? About 9 months of this. And, you know, and it's like, you might find a way through this tunnel, but then things change. Your tunnel gets foggy, gets blocked up, or there's a construction beam there. You can't go any further, and you're like, damn it, I gotta find another way to navigate 2020. Damn it, 2020, you know, like, son of a bee, what the heck, you know? you have to find a new way. I felt having to do that over and over again, and it was exhausting. It was so exhausting because I thought I was doing good. Or you can think of it like 2020, the analogy or the metaphor. 2020 is like swimming in the ocean. It's the year and the ocean. You look at it, at the whole thing, you're like, it's so beautiful. It could be anything. It's so beautiful. Look at the light reflecting off the ocean. Once you get in there, holy crap, like you feel every little movement in the ocean, and that water moves. You sneeze, it moves. You like kind of adjust your neck, it moves. You move a finger, it moves. All these ripples, right? So this whole world is causing ripples, right? The pandemic is causing all these ripples in the ocean of the world, right? The ocean of our lives. So dang, like we keep having to like swim harder and faster and kick harder and keep trying to like get to that island in the middle of this water, to get to that rest point, that goal, that oh my God, like I swear to God, like I think I'd get calm water, and then all of a sudden like I'm having to go through like choppy tide and ocean waves pummeling on my head. Like it literally feels like that. Or like the tunnel, it's like, damn it, I thought I had this that was keeping me up, that this was keeping me positive, lifting my spirits, and then it all went kaplooey again, and it's like, I gotta find a new direction. So it is exhausting. So for some of us, the depression might still be here because we're constantly navigating, and then there's so much that we don't know, and there's only so much that we can plan. Oh my God, we were always planning. Like I think all of us, we're creatures of habit, and we have our destinations, for our days and our weeks, and our whole month is mapped out. So when everything was canceling, and then it's like, you're like, wow, really? Okay, everything's canceled. So then you want to be hopeful. You're like, okay, so in 3 months we'll plan for something. We'll have a party. In 3 months we'll go do something fun, right? And then like that can't happen. So then it's like we're trying to find something to look forward to, right? We're trying to find something to hold on to. So we've had to constantly adapt during this uncertain time. So this is an opportunity to write about all that. Dear 2020, love letters to 2020. This is a unique time, everyone. A unique time. So I'm going to email you this slide so you have it. And I'm going to save it. Let me save this before I take it down. Okay. So I want to hone in on what the theme of today's workshop is, which is the positives. So this might be harder. It's always easy to think of what let you down, but sometimes you're like, dang, what was it that got me through? What was the positive? So let's look at that. So the positives of this quarantine, that's what we're going to examine. And like for everything that happens in our lives, there's always a changing point, the pivot point. Like, let's say we had a new job, right, that we started this year with, and then the pivot point was, the coronavirus, and now that place had to close and your job ended and things pivoted for you in some direction, right? Well, it can work like that too for positive things, for things that brought you up, for things that you were able to look to make sense of what was happening. So let's look at that. So we need what I want you to write on your paper, if you have your paper, your computer, is write the word or the phrase embrace the change. Embrace the change. That's what we want to keep in our head today. Embrace the change. That's going to be like our mantra for the positive. Embrace the change. Okay, so yeah, coronavirus happened. Yeah, we all got on lockdown, but lockdown is for our benefit, right? And that's supposed to be to protect our lives, to protect others' lives. And this virus was nothing like we'd ever seen, because while folks get sick, you're like, usually we're accustomed to having, an easy solution if we're sick. Oh yeah, get that shot and you'll be all good. Well, get this shot, we'll be right as rain, Or go take this herb and you'll be fine. Go take the mint and the garlic and you'll be fine. You know, there's always like a quick cure because and especially in the United States, like we think that we're on the top of the whole progress chart, right? Like we're the forerunner here of everything that's progress in the world. So once this virus hit and it's like, oh, well, there's no cure. It's like, uh-oh, what do you mean there's no cure? Oh, and you kind of don't know if even if you feel good, you still might have it. It's like, what? Yeah, you might be able to give it to people and you might not even know it, and they might be able to give it to you and you don't even know it, and they might seem fine. Like, it's just like the most bizarre Twilight Zone virus that you can think of. Like, someone really thought this one through very well to kind of give whoever got it like no option like to get through it. You know what I mean? It seems so like, wow, system failure. Like, the country didn't have an answer, the world didn't have an answer, and you could be a walking like a grenade. We all are walking grenades, because who knows how we're going to affect each other. So it was just like, wow, like it left us with so much not in our control. That's why we have so much to write about, as far as confronting 2020. But now let's look at, all right, well, we're here, coronavirus is here, pandemic's here, lockdown is here, and we see the different actions that different community members are starting to make. We see in the community as a result of the racism and the pain and murder, not to mention all the lack of response, of help from the country for the people, or the lack of response of help to homeless folks, like all these things that could let us down, right, about this country, and things that were really like heightened and visible, right? Like children being put in cages. More awareness was seen on that. It was more visible because we knew about it last year. We knew about it before then, and it was like the most evil thing, cruel thing in the world to happen. And then this pandemic happened, and it got even crueler. It got even worse for those people, and we're, what I mean, and we're there. We see this. As a citizen of the world and as of this country, we see this. We see the lack of responses. We see the lack of care in the system, or even like we feel powerless. We feel like we have no control, right? So lots and lots of stuff was heightened. So with that, I want you, again, if you weren't here last time, on your paper to write confront the change, and put number 1 next to that, because when we leave each other today, I'd like you to go ahead and give that a shot to write a poem, number 1, right? Confront the change. And today in class together, we're going to do embrace the change. So let's brainstorm. I'm going to do that. We're going to brainstorm. Let me bring my screen share back. We're going to do a whiteboard. Okay. I know it's hard. So now, especially after I got you riled up about all the anger and all the things that came out, right? That let us down and led us to all of the anger and pain. But today is about embracing the change. Okay. So I guess I'm an optimist here. Well, I am an optimist, and I think that you'll be able to bear witness to some of these things that we're going to explore right now too. So embrace the change. Oh, whoopsie. Come on, man. What happened there? Okay, so embrace the change. So let's think about the positive, right? The positive. So this is post-COVID. Positive. So I'll start, because I just in case y'all have a hard time honing in, or maybe there's something that crosses your mind right away. You're like, oh, that was a real good thing that happened. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get a good font here. Okay. I think this works here, right? Oh, that wasn't very good. All right, we'll do this. Okay, so the positive. So some of the positive that happened. So for me, again, I'm fast forwarding to when I started to notice some positivity. Because after a while, again, we're in this 9 months now. There's got to be something positive that has happened as a result, or as you just what you turn to during COVID, something like your way out, something that's helping you get by, something that is a crutch or helping you feel better or giving you a place to be yourself. Think about those things. Think about those things. And I'm going to ask you to share your answers with me in a moment. But some of the positive right away from coronavirus, and this is in the perspective of Los Angeles, California. That's where we're at, the LA Poet Society. And Los Angeles, there is now, I think, 13 million people in Los Angeles, which is roughly 26-mile diameter. There's also Los Angeles County, but all right, I said million. I didn't say 4 million or 5. I didn't say 10. I said 13 million. So 13 million people in one metropolitan area creates a lot of waste, creates a lot of traffic, creates a lot of pollution. So when all the people stayed home, one of the wonderful things that happened was we saw the sky starting to clear. And I am not joking, y'all. The sky cleared up in Los Angeles. That was beautiful. It was so beautiful that a lot of people wrote about it, and it was something that was not unnoticed. Usually we have smog. There's usually, the sky, it's always sunny in Los Angeles and SoCal, and there's blue up in the top part, but like the lower part, it's gray. It's sometimes you can't see. It burns your eye. Like it really is nasty. The pollution is real. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of cars, a lot of industry. It's real. So one of the positives after COVID was that the sky cleared up in LA. The environment was healing. The environment was healing. And it wasn't just in Los Angeles, because in the news we saw reports. I saw reports, of different animals coming out from like the forests, and birds coming back, and water returning. Things like that were happening. So the environment was healing. We've directly affected our environment for so long. Again, capitalism, mass production of goods and services, and we're always wanting, because we're making money all the time. A lot of it goes to like housing, but we're still making some money, so there's always room to buy what you want, no matter what the price it is, whatever the price is. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of just materials in this area, and in this country. So when a lot of that production stopped, and a lot of people stopped going to work and things like that, for the good reasons that like their employers didn't want to get them in, in any hazardous scenario. Not that they got laid off, even though that was also another half of the case of why folks weren't driving anywhere. But the environment was healing. That was positive. And we are a product of our environment, human beings. We are a product of our environment, and we connect to environment because we're natural, right? We're organic materials, right? We're organisms. So this the cleanliness of our surroundings did allow for it did allow positivity. People felt it. They felt that was a positive thing. People felt the relief of the environment. So I know I've said this a few times today, but looking inward. So looking inward is understanding yourself better, maybe, if you're ready. So for those, this had major impact, especially for those who aren't really tuned into what their needs are, what to themselves. A lot of times, we're so busy, we don't pay attention to ourselves. We don't have the work-life balance. We're not mindful of our needs. We put ourselves on the back burner because we don't have time to care. And it, it sounds foolish, but that is typically how, at least here in the US, how we run our lives, what we do. We're, I guess, accustomed to it. So looking inward and understanding ourselves better is definitely a positive, because you're making peace with yourself. You're giving yourself what you need. You're, if anything, you're understanding like, gosh, I really like being outside. Gosh, I really like reading, manuals and understanding about all these different things. Like, I really enjoy reading. I want to read more and learn about everything. You understand yourself more. You look inward. You learn what you need, right? You learn what you need. You learn what really matters to you. This is positive, people. This is all positive. We had to be forced with ourselves to be able to spend time with ourselves, y'all. That's what we're living in. That's the society we live in. But nevertheless, lessons learned, right? I think a lot of folks are grateful that they were able to have this time with themselves. Especially like I was saying, for those instances when we all have hobbies, because we're more than our jobs, right? For some folks, they just get a job to make the ends meet, to pay a roof over their head, or they're like, well, I'll just take whatever I can get to get by. Like, I don't really care where I work. I just need, So sometimes people are not so invested in their jobs or anything, and their jobs are not their identity. Like some folks, a lot of people are writers, and they, like, some folks have said, hey, I finally am getting to write more now, or I'm finally able to read now. I'm finally able to write that book now because I have time. I'm finally able to spend time with my kids now. So, people are able to now work at home and spend time with their families. Like, that is a positive. It does depend on the person and the family, I mean, and I'm not trying to be funny, because I know as an educator, I do feel that sadness and pain for some of our students who are either homeless or in domestic violence scenarios at home. They're there and they're stuck. Or homeless kids, they don't have access to internet, which keeps them in school, like keeps them connected, and that's a real issue. Because like the libraries are closed, and so you either find a hot spot if you can, or how are you staying connected if you're a homeless student? And I think literally in Los Angeles Unified School District, there's like 25% of students are houseless. They're homeless, and all ages. So the little ones are homeless too. I mean, these are things that we need to know about, because as a community member, we can change that, right? Through our vote, through our voice, through telling others, changing that in your cities, your community, like helping, being a part of that solution. But as a positive, I will say, for those worker bees, the 9-to-5ers that were always in offices, most of those office jobs went virtual very, very easily. So they were finally there. Normally they're in 10 hours, 11 hours, whatever, away from their home. They're back in their nest, with their kids around, with their loved ones around. So they're the work family balance kind of went into another level, right? Another harmony. And actually you got yourself more family. Like if the balance was 50-50 and it was 75-25 or 90 and 10, like your life balance was like 10% and all this was work, it's kind of flipped the other way now, where it's more family and then here's work, right? Or maybe it's a 25-75, it depends. But I think that's a positive, that folks get to be with their families. Some people are finally getting to know their children, like kids are always at school, mom and dad always at work, you're not connecting. So people are with their families and they are connecting. Okay, so that's a positive. And then for me, another personal positive, and then I'm going to open it to you. So I feel like I've been going a lot, talking a lot, but I hope you find this helpful. I hope this is like starting to get that. Is this working? Is it starting to get you to think of some of the positives? Embracing the change, some of the positives that you found during COVID? maybe also you were able to pick up your hobbies, you know. People are at last able to do their hobbies and that to-do list. So like I like to make jewelry, so it's like, well, okay, I have kids, so I don't get that much time, but I have more time where I can make jewelry now, you know. I have more time where I can write a poem now, you know. So I can finally do some of the things that make me unique, that I like to do, because it's my thing. Like I garden, like I love gardening. So I have more time for that, you know. So anyhow, and another thing that really helped me during this time for my love letter to 2020, the positive, is that I was able, or Los Angeles Poet Society was able to expand programming online through all our virtual platforms. And also a win is that the LAPS was able to at last have a working team. This is huge for me. LA Poet Society is 11 years old, and for most of that time, I think up until 2013, 14, it was just me. And Juan Cardenas was the second person to help me run the LA Poet Society. Fast forward now till now, like through that time since 2014, we've had a few volunteers here and there, but we did not have a solid team. You know, we didn't have commitment from folks. And now being virtual and having that accessibility, like I'm able to really have a solid team that has taken our programming to the next level. But also just the fact that I was crushed, going back to that first reaction of the anger and pain and regret of 2020. All the LA Poet Society programming was canceled, right? All of our events, everything we do, we've always had our online community and everything, but everything we did was physically in person. You know, our workshops, our grant work that we had, the outreach programs that we had, the open mics, you know, the features that I was booking for open mics, the book tours I was setting up, all this stuff, and then it all came crashing down. I was so devastated, because that's like my whole world. That's everything to me. That's my passion. The LA Poet Society is my passion. Being a poet is my passion. And it was all taken away because, well, we couldn't have an event, and I couldn't like reschedule an event because we could never meet again, right? So it was like, and it took one person. I mean, I was depressed. I didn't even want to look up for a month, but I'm not joking. But it took one person to see a community member taking lead and having an online open mic. And I hadn't thought of that. She changed my world. And here we are, right? So immediately I was like, oh my God, we can do online open mics. We can do that on Instagram. I have a Facebook, you know, I'll buy a Zoom account, you know, here we are. We have workshops, we have outreach, we have lots of fun, you know, writing activities, and we just had a big 11-year party on Zoom, you know, so I'm grateful for that. I'm going to write about that. Dear 2020, my love letter to 2020 is that you brought my community out into my eyes and made it stronger for me. You know, you brought the skies, the blue skies of Los Angeles. You brought the ducks coming back to the LA River, and you know what I mean? So these are things that are positive. All right. I want to hear from you. So I wanted to get you thinking. I know I brought you into the doom and gloom really fast to catch you up, but I'm like, no, let's talk about the positive, you know. So I wanted to lead by example here. So this is my list. I'm going to make it smaller because I'm going to add yours, or at least some of it. It doesn't have to be everything that, you know, you don't have to tell me everything you're going to write about, but if you want to share some of the embracing the change, what are some of the positives? So let's see, so this is to y'all. What's some of the positives? Have you honed in on anything? I'm sure you have. What's something positive from 2020? Whoops, sorry about that. And you can type it in the chat. I'll check out the chat and add it there. Or if you want to unmute or here, let me unmute everyone. Maybe y'all can't unmute yourself. All right, let's see. Oh, we have something in the chat here. Okay, San Juanita, no problem. I'll save these notes for you too. But oh, I'm gonna miss hearing your poem. I haven't got to hear your poems yet. But
I did my 2020, my dear 2020.
Oh, you did the one from last week?
Yeah, I did. But my gosh, there's so much information today. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess hold on to it, and if you want to edit it, feel free. But you can always email it to me, okay. And then and that goes to everybody too. When you're happy with your poems, send them to me, email them to me, Los Angeles Poet Society at Gmail, and that way I'll start setting up the book or the chapbook. I'll put that in there. That's the email there. But yeah, no problem.
If I can join through the iPhone, maybe I will. But it's this event every single week, Wednesday. So
yeah,
my son's like being very patient because he's waiting. We usually leave at 7. It's already 7 something. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it. And but I think this is a lot of info already too for the workshop number 2 that'll get you, that'll give you hopefully inspire you to think about the positives for yourself. And
I mean, I've had to think about the positives because as a teacher, I had to forced. I was never had the freedom to write all these horrible things to 2020 until this last week that you gave me permission to write.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna put that the positive that you have to be a leader for the youth. It hurts, but that is positive because you're kind of forced just to go forward for their sakes, even though you're like, but I want to cry, I want to not show up.
I wanted to hide under a rock but oh well.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go. So
okay.
You're awesome. I feel terrible that I'm gonna be out, but I'll be looking forward to the notes. Okay.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you
for coming.
Bye.
Bye. Let's see. I think that was San Juanita. She's been in a few of our workshops. She's part of the familia. So I saw something else. I think I saw someone said that they finally got their own place. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Getting a space all by yourself. Oh yeah, that's a win. Okay. So let's see. Finally getting my own place. So getting your own or I'll just do it first person. Finally getting your own place all to yourself. Also, oh cool, having a therapist who's actually great. Good. So this is great. Yeah, these are great wins and personal wins, right? Of the year of 2020. No matter how big or small, it doesn't have to be, like I got my own apartment. That is huge though. That is really huge. It can also just be like, well, I understand that I really like taking walks outside and I feel good for that, because if you're a grinder, right, 9 to 5 grinder, you probably don't get to be outside or have time to discover that you really like connecting with nature, so some folks, they're home and they're like, well, I like being outside taking my walk every day, things like that. So I think that's great. So like the wins can be huge, small, really small, a micro, whatever made you feel good, that positive. It could also be like, remember I was talking about the current of the year, like swimming through the ocean, like it could also be like that little break in the current that just is enough to get you by to that next step, like that like, hey, I got $50 for writing an article, or like, hey, I got my poem published online, or hey, I'm taking over the Alley Poet Society, for a week or something, right? Those are all things that help us look forward. Those are things to look forward to, that stimulate us, right? When we're excited and we're looking forward to something, we're stimulated. We're very positive, because if you're looking forward to something, you're embracing the future with open arms, right? With excitement. You're like, future, yay, you're making me happy. Like, and instead of looking at the future with dread, like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, or I don't know what I'm gonna do for work, all those feelings, right? And those are all real feelings too. But these little wins, like, just get us to the next step, something to look forward to. That's how we want to live, right? That's what we need to hold on to. That's gonna make it more bearable to get through this pandemic, right? Because we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're getting closer. At least I'm the optimist in me. I want to say we're closer to being out of this whole pandemic world, but yet I really don't know. I can't say I know. That's just my positivity. Yay, learning to cook. Cool. I love that. Yeah, we have to cook for ourselves, right? Unless you're getting that same takeout every day, but that gets boring. So yeah, we have time for hobbies. We look at things that make us happy, learning to cook, learning something new that really makes you excited. Even then, those new things we're learning, we might even, and some folks might even be able to monetize on it, right? Like, oh, now I'm giving cooking classes online, or now I'm doing a YouTube video, or now I have a channel, or now I have an Instagram. And actually, I do know someone that started cooking during pandemic, and now she's like taking pictures of the food dishes, and she's doing like 30-minute Mexican food. That's like her theme. And yeah, so she's sharing that, and she has followers, you know what I mean? So new aptitudes are coming out of this time. What are you a new master of? What's your new skill? So Marina was mentioning she learned to cook. What's one of, like, I'm getting better at this Zoom business. I wanted to learn like new languages. That was on my list too, to learn new languages. Ooh, okay, meeting people from all over the world and the state. Perfect. I love that. That is definitely exciting. Being that you're connected, right? That we've always been the World Wide Web. A lot of times but now we're really seeing it and feeling our international presence, right? We're making ourselves known abroad, and those abroad are being made known to us. Like, we have someone right now in this workshop from Lebanon, and I was seeing that someone from Spain, she's a 14-year-old gal that's going to be joining us. Hello. She's going to be viewing this in Spain. So this is so cool. Let's see. Let me check the chat. Oh, ekphrastic poetry class. Aw, thank you. Yeah, ekphrastic poetry. These are great. I can type there. Ekphrastic poetry class. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, 2 paid consulting podcast gigs. Hey. And podcasting is what you can do virtually anywhere, right? So these types of jobs and these types of skills, they're helping us out, right? And we're finding a way through this time. Oh, and one of I guess one of my biggest changes of this year, the positives, is my fitness, health / weight loss. And I think I told a lot of folks this already, but this pandemic I could not control. I couldn't plan ahead. I couldn't plan for the LA Poets Society. I couldn't plan for my own life. So I couldn't control anything, and it brought me into depression. And I came out like fighting, saying, you know what? The only thing I can control is me. So damn it, I'm going to control myself, and I'm going to take control of my body and of my fitness, And I did. And, so far I've lost about 50 pounds. So wow, it's pretty awesome. And so yeah, that's something that's positive. That probably wouldn't happen. I probably would have still been how I was, or maybe, to some extent better. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these are gifts in disguise, right? So making lemonade out of the lemons we were dealt with. But all these positives are really amazing. having to be a leader for the youth. Some of us rose up as youth leaders, right? Finally getting your own place all to yourself, having your own apartment, having a new therapist that's actually amazing right now, learning to cook, having new skills, right? Meeting new people from all over the world, all over the state, being connected to the world, right? That's one of my favorites. Let me add that one too. So like this is a lot of positivity. Meeting ekphrastic poetry workshop classes. Yeah, workshops are popping up all over, and there's lots of accessible, free or no little cost workshops and all types of topics, and this is because people are having time because they're home. So if there's people that, let's say by day I'm a waitress, but I know everything there is about farming tomatoes and squash and when's the best time to plant corn and beans and stuff, and I have a YouTube channel, like I have the time to emphasize on that. People are making a living and making money and making ends meet off of skills that are passions and hobbies, things of their own interest, and it's getting them by. It's paying their bills. It's taking them that next level, right? So these are great things. These are really great things. Let's see. Let me look back at the chat. So I think we have a lot to work with now. So we can probably get started on our love letter in a few minutes. Ah, the cute guy. I have a crush on. Yeah, the cutie that you like invited you to an online event. That's cool. People are connecting. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's definitely like helped us not to take things for granted and really see what matters the most to us, right? That's that looking inward. Who matters most to you? Again, I have the kid, I have youth, right? I'm with the youth, my day job, one of them was like, yeah, wow, that hug from my mom is everything. And I wish and I can't wait to get that hug from my boyfriend, you know, or for folks that don't live with their families, wow, those hugs that they give me that I took for granted. Now I can't wait to get one. So it's like really putting things in perspective. It's really putting it into perspective. Let's see. Ooh, and as Scott says, also he has a new Italian language podcast, Podcasting Wisdom. Wow, that's awesome. Yay. So that's awesome. So I think that's a lot of examples. All these connections we're making around the world too and with each other, it's brought us a lot closer. I think, oh, here's another thing I'm going to add, making a new family, making a new and showing an existing family. That's our friends, the friendships, those people that matter to us. It's like it's going to show you, right? It's either this time is either showing you the people that are there for you, and though yeah, we can't all be physically there like that on hands on, but you're seeing who's real, right? Who's genuine in your life. It gives you a chance to purge the people that are not good for you, the people, appreciate the people that are good for you, or bring them in even closer and embrace them even closer. It's also made family of us all, like with our own interests, like here, like for example, the LA Poet Society, right? We're always connecting with folks through our events, and a lot of you folks, like we've seen, like at many events. So we're getting to know you. We are getting to really know each other and have a relationship, right? So we're making new friendships and creating new families, and so those are things to be grateful for, to embrace, right? From the change, embrace the change. These are the positives. The positives. So there was a question about when I would want these poems. As I mentioned, the 31st is our will be our launch party, our Chapbook's launch party. So if you can get them to me, anything you write, because I know even next Wednesday we have a workshop. So Wednesday night, I would say, would be the deadline, or even like by 12 o'clock on that Thursday, on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? Because if you want it to be included in the Chapbook, otherwise, I don't want them like an hour before, like we have to go online. You know what I mean? Don't do that to me. So I would say like midnight on Thursday, or if you absolutely can't, the drop dead deadline is 12 o'clock on Thursday. Okay. All right. So I'm going to save this. I think I did already. So now it's time for us to write. So let's look at the, again, the positive. Post COVID-19 positives. Embrace the change. The positive. The sky cleared up. The environment healed. You had a chance to look inward and understand yourself. You had more time with yourself. You got to learn what really matters to you. What makes you tick? What makes you excited? What are your real goals for your life? Not that gives you the most money, but what are your goals before your life is over? What do you want? What do you want to achieve? What is being shown to you? Like, what's the good things? What are the good things that are being shown to you? Are you embracing those good things? Are you creating those good things? Are you creating those good things for others? And are others joining you? Are you a leader? Are you happy? Are you having that time to do those hobbies and those experiments? Just do different things with your time that you've always wanted to try. How's that working out? Learning to cook. What's your favorite thing that you cook? Do you want to cook for others? Do you want to make a recipe book one day? Is it really exciting, or are you just getting your feet wet? Think about all that. And also remember, when you embrace the change and you write, "Dear 2020, I want to thank you for showing me myself. Dear 2020, I want to thank you for showing me who my real friends are. Dear 2020, I want to thank you for being there for me because you led me to myself. I want to thank you for bringing certain people into my life. I want to thank you for forcing me to be alone, because now I get it. These are different thoughts, different ways that you can build on your positive, your wins for 2020. So let's see, do we have a question in the chat? All right, yes to all that. Yes, ma'am. Right on. All right, so let's go ahead. It's 7:39. Listen to your senses. If you're having a hard time writing, just go with the flow. Your Dear 2020, your love letter, right? Love letters of 2020. We have lots of different positive things here. And honestly, once you all started writing them, I saw more and more coming in. It's like you couldn't stop writing them. So there's lots of wins. There's lots of things to celebrate. So I want you to follow that feeling. Remember to embrace it and to get the whole perspective. Use those 5 senses to get that whole perspective on how you feel, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what your intuition is telling you, that 6th sense, all that. So it's 7:40. So let's write for 15 minutes. So at 7:55, we'll come back together, and then we can share. And if you're stuck on like the anger stuff and you want to write about that right now and not this, that's okay. You write with whatever you're feeling. I'd love to hear either or both, or however, whatever you'd like to share. Okay, so let's so 7:40. So at 7:55, we'll come back together. We'll share. So you should be writing your love letter to 2020, the embrace the change, the positive, right? Embracing the change, embracing the wins, celebrating the wins, no matter how big or small. All right, any questions? All good? Thumbs up? Good? All right, cool. I'm gonna put myself on mute, but I'm here. I'll be looking at the chat, so let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, 7:55. Maybe a couple more minutes to wrap up, or let me know if you need more than a few minutes. Okay, so some folks need a little bit more time, so yeah, we can do another we can go to about, yeah, a little after 8 o'clock, 8 to 10 minutes, so that'll be fine. Um, so also, everyone, I was just gonna say, if you're done with your poem, the positive of this change, the love letter. Maybe you know, you can work on the anger love letter. So just a thought. If you find yourself with some time right now, you know, maybe just tackle both of them while the muse is with you. Okay, let's go ahead and save what you've done. Let's bring it back in. I am gonna migrate over back to where I was into my other room. But I went ahead and tried the angry letter also. And I'm gonna have a few of them. I already feel it. It's not, the one is not sufficient. There's too much loss this year, I think, than for just one poem to capture it all. Let me. I love it. I want to get one of these. Let me get my beverage. I'll meet you in the other room, everyone. And now we'll have an opportunity to share. If anybody wants to share. Let me get my back in my seat. All right. Wow. So class is back in session, everyone. We are back in session. Let me stop sharing. That'll help. There we go. I'll go see everybody. There we go. And I can see you all again. Or you can see me again. All right. Hi, everyone. We're back. Hi, everyone that's watching. Again, I want to thank Poets and Writers for being a sponsor of the Los Angeles Poet Society and giving this opportunity to preserve the voice of the people during this traumatic time in our existence. We may not know anything this traumatic again. If anything, you know, lots of things have been unveiled so that we can counter the terrible things that have happened around us and affecting us. And you know, from here we rebuild. So that's what our next workshop will be about: rebuilding, looking to the future, and rebuilding our own lives. So today, I know, fingers crossed, right? So today, again, we examined the things that made us mad, you know, the destruction, the destruction of 2020, of what we were hoping to get out of this year, and also in the love letter acknowledging and the positive, right, of 2020, embracing the change. So let's do it. Let's share what you all wrote or what you're comfortable with sharing, and embracing the change. Or if you wrote your poem of your anger, you know, for simplicity's sake, I'll say from your number one poem, your workshop number one poem about confronting 2020. If you want to share your confrontational poem or your positive poem, whichever one or both, you know. If it's 8:10, are you okay, everyone, with maybe staying on for another 10 or 15 or going about 8:30? Is that okay? Did I get a thumbs up or a yes in the chat, or is everybody okay with that? I mean, that's what people want to share. Does anybody want to share? I'm down to share mine, but maybe we won't even need that much time if not everybody wants to share. But anybody else? Okay, so I'll share. I can start it, and if anybody else wants to share, we'll do that. So I will lead by example, I guess, in this situation. So cheers. All right. So I want to share my positive, embrace the change poem. I had you write that phrase because I feel that kind of encompasses the feeling that we're trying to capture for this this workshop. That's our goal for our poem, is to embrace the change, right? The positive. Look at the positive. So here is my poem. And y'all are free to unmute and, you know, well, after I read it, if you want to say anything too. And that goes for, like, you know, on others' poems, as long as you're, you know, be respectful, maintain respect always. But, you know, definitely, you know, we welcome, or I welcome the feedback. I welcome the connection. So I want to hear what you have to say. For my own work, but for others' work as well. So I want you to know this is a open space to you.
to be heard, to be visible, and also to be respected. Okay, so all right, so here's my 2020 letter. Dear 2020, I want to thank you for showing me a way that I could be better, a more fulfilling me to survive on. The tips of my toes, the appetizer for my life that led me into so much movement to the future. When that future paused, I was destroyed, thinking that my purpose would be forever muted. But you've shown me another way. It was a mainstream road into the world, the information superhighway, where my motorcycle suffered and slid into the gaps on the floor. I was parceled into believing that X plus Y was the only way to get to Z. Dear 2020, you showed me another way when Kamari Carter Hawkins chatted with poets online. An Instagram chat room, a familiar look. Open mic was on the board. Join me live. Wow, that was stunning. A live poetry experience, you say. Something survived that fire. It was the poet, and she showed us a way where we can still engage in the retelling of our pains, where we can examine how we were trying to make sense, or how we are trying to make sense, how we were all trying to find that kickstand and stand our motorcycle up, how we could still find each other and be seen by someone living, a someone that was speaking, a someone that was hearing, listening, learning what to say and how to say it. That was us adapting, finding each other in the darkest tunnels, navigating each other to find a womb we could climb in, tuck in, seed, nurture, blossom. That was us. Thank you. And thank you. And the thank you was actually in the poem last night. Thank you, 2020, for showing me that. And then my thank you as I'm done. But yeah, so that's that's just my that's just the first version. You let it out, everybody, you let it out, and it doesn't have to be the masterpiece right away. You can always go back to it, or sometimes you said it just right and you don't need to touch it up. So that was my love letter to 2020. That was my positive. When I saw Kamari, and I name her in there because it was literally at that moment, that was the pivot moment for my life that showed me, hey, you can still have poetry events. You can still exist as LA Poet Society and meet and connect and everything that we do, like you can still do it. Look at what she did, and that was the seed I needed to see, to inspire me and give me hope to rebuild and plan. Because I was a goner. I was so depressed. I usually never let myself stop completely, let the depression and just make it stop my life. But I let it stopped. My life stopped for a full month. And I know that might be a short amount of time for some, and others maybe a lot. I don't know, but it was a very traumatic for me. I needed to see Kamari having an open mic on Instagram. She was the first of that network. She was the first of our collective, the first person I happened to see doing that. And I was like, oh wow, I'm so grateful to her. She has no idea. I mean, I did tell her, but I mean, no one's going to really know the impact that you have on their lives. It's hard to get them to be like, no, but really it was like this important to me, or this big to me. And anyway, I needed to see that. And I feel like we've been so successful, after that moment, because we did reach online. as an organization, and we're able to continue our work and continue building up, and nothing has been able, where we're not, nothing's stopping us now kind of feeling, like we're good. And even if things go back to that other normal, like still I will have online programming. I want to connect to the world, and I want them to be a part of our events, and I want you to be exposed to others, and like get out of our neighborhoods and share what we're doing in our work. So it's a blessing. I can't believe it. It is a blessing. 2020 blessed me, damn it. There was a blessing in that. But yeah, I'm great. You got to acknowledge it. That's part of that growth of the year. And that's part of the growth of that trauma, right? It leaves an impression, but we are always like, we're so resilient and we're so strong, even though it hurts so bad and we think we're weak and we can't do it. We really are adaptable individuals. We're an adaptable species. We adapt, we change. We're always trying to make sense and always trying to connect and always trying to change, even if we don't want to. It's just kind of like I think it's a survival instinct or something that we have. But yeah, here we are. So we do need to acknowledge the wins. So okay, that was mine. Does anybody want to share a poem? One of the poems they might have written tonight. See, we have Juan. I know Juan. I think he was watching the kids, so he wrote his. Scotty or Imogen.
I would like to share mine when there's a chance.
Yay! Right now, you have a chance right now. It's your time. Let's hear.
Okay.
From Scotty.
Cool.
Go for it.
I'm going to open up my camera really quick so you can see me too. Hi there, everyone. Dear 2020, feeling isolated leads me into connection with myself. Imagination is fostered in isolation. My imagination brightly flourishes, fragrantly fresh. Hold on, page turn. That's not part of the poem. Extroverted, introvert, always looking out, always feeling odd, always different, left to imagine again. Imagine hope in distress, imagine fullness while empty, imagine warmth while sleeping on the sidewalk, imagine home, imagine hope. Isolation and imagination, I can feel my way back to connecting with a pantheon of interesting characters throughout the history of life.
I love it. The pantheon of interesting characters of life, the history of life. That's beautiful. That is so cool. Like that leaves the door open for like a whole series of poems or a book of these characters, and how they've been on, how each character has been a part of the journey to help you grow in whichever direction, like that's pretty exciting. I love it. I think that's really great. And it's like, again, you're like talking about the isolation. It's like, well, I was alone, but this happened, like I'm not alone now, like I'm really not. Like you're forced to see or find that new family.
Well, growing up queer in Southern Oregon in such a white supremacist environment in rural Southern Oregon, I was really different and I really stuck out. And I didn't have the opportunity to come out. People told me who I was before I was able to even have that. So it was like really weird for me to grow up in that small town environment. And then homelessness had the same kind of weird isolation feeling to it. So when people were like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, this is old hat to me. Are you kidding? I've always been alone and isolated and been, excluded and left out. And so it's just interesting to like be on this side of it and be like, oh, hey, I know this. This is familiar. And I can call upon all this, creativity I have and, start making podcasts on my own about, learning Italian and, stuff that I care about. It doesn't have to be with other people. It could just be with me. And that's like people podcasts like that I had never had, but I am now. It's just interesting to be on this side of it. So making the best of the bad situation, which turned out to be a great year for me, actually.
Yeah, it's like you were given all the tools, like your life led up with all the tools that you needed to be able to survive and like shine through this year. It's like weird. It's irony, right? That kind of that, yeah. It's just like you're like, what? But it hurts so bad to get here. And it's like,
But that's the thing, like all these people like Sachmo, you know, all these people that we keep talking about in these classes and stuff, it's like we live in a culture again where we're presented this narrative that like people's lives are like perfect, and it's not. To a lot of people that are very successful in the world's eyes have been through a lot of things to get where they are and have sacrificed a lot, and we don't always get told that part of the narrative. We're like, oh my gosh, look what they did all by themselves, isn't it amazing? But we don't see the whole team of people and all the people that come together to make that product that we see before us for consumption, which isn't the real person in the first place, if that makes sense. So anyway,
yeah. We're just shown like a facade. And I mean, individually that happens, you know, one-on-one and or with like people we work with or, you know, that we're in community with in different ways. But you know, that facade, like I was saying about the veil being lifted of the face of the United States and the leadership and everything, like it's just all been out in the open, which is good though. It's unfortunate, it's painful, it's ugly, but it's truth. And the thing is like that everybody sees it. Like we're gonna get through it. We're gonna rebuild, you know, a better way. We're going to help those that are, you know, in need. Like we're really gonna be there as a good, you know, citizen, right? As a person that believes in justice and equality for all, right? So that's where like our numbers of just, you know, regular, you know, Joes and Janes and guys and gals and in between, right? Of this, of at least in this country, you know, we're able to rebuild from this, to see that like there is more below the surface of what you're just shown on TV and, you know, who you're getting your news from and all that stuff. It's just, yeah, it's painful, but it's gonna be, in the long run, it's gonna help us. You know, new strengths have come to surface in these times, and new interests and stronger families, and you know, folks are getting to know each other more that are blood related. Folks that are blood related are also getting to see like, wow, who's really not there for me, I'm not able to talk to. Like you're identifying these people in your life, you know, and new outlets in your life. You know, I know LA Poet Society has been there for writers and creatives, you know, because we continue our programming and we're really proud to still be there and be there for you during COVID-19. You know, proud to be an outlet where you can share what you're going through, or just meet other people, or just not even to say a thing, but see that other real humans right now are existing and thinking and talking. And you know, like you're not alone just watching people on TV. You're actually seeing a real person react and move, and you know what I mean? That is real connection. I know it's digital, but it is real connection, you know, because we're reacting and responding to each other. And that's everything. That's huge. You know, you're not alone. So, yeah. I just had to say that, you know, it really is an honor to be here for people. And it's not for any glory or recognition, but the fact that we're a service, and we're happy to be of service, and you know, to bring people together and just be a space for people, you know, to be seen and heard, and to see others, you know, because yeah, it feels awful. I know, like just being like feeling that you really are by yourself, and you know, for those people especially that live by themselves, you know, it can feel like, so you can totally get the blues, you know what I'm saying, just being alone like that. So I'm glad that we're able to at least connect people and show them real faces and everything, you know what I mean? Let's see, is there anybody else that wants to share? Anybody else? Okay. Oh, Marina, you're gonna log off. Did you want to share, or you're, or well,
My house is so rowdy. People are screaming back here and running around. Would you mind reading it, or should we wait until a quieter time?
Oh, actually, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Read it. Jessica's always got screaming kids in the background. Read
Yeah,
it.
No, I have 4 kids here. I'm
That's
caring for my
true.
sister's kids, and they're fighting over, I don't know.
We can't hear anything though. All we can hear is you. Read it, please.
Okay, I'm gonna go into another room. I have to find a quiet space. I'm going outside. Are the lights on?
Scotty, that's hilarious. You're like, Jessica always has screaming kids in the background.
No, yeah, no, it's loud.
I
over
read
here.
mine outside of Food for Less in Boyle Heights. I mean,
I know,
Oh,
or
for
the Echo
real.
Park. Echo Park, yeah.
I
right?
don't know how I feel about it, and that's how I am when I write something. I don't know how I feel about it because it's like moment to moment, you know. And like right now, I'm looking at my house, and it's like my Christmas tree's up. We made a cake. Everything is good. So I struggle with that in my writing, and it's not like my writing cannot encompass every moment. It's only like minor moments. Um. Anywho, where
No,
am I?
I get it. That's why the best thing is just to dive into that moment and just like do that whole view of like all those senses to get as much as you can,
Okay.
you know, to
So I'm
really,
going out of my comfort zone right now reading it. You guys are ready?
yes.
Okay. Dear 2020, this is a love letter to you. Like a toxic relationship, I write to you. You who have brought us all into a collective. Days of highs, baking, running. Look at me, hashtag core life. Then an abrupt, long, heavy weight of immobility. A year of masking and unmasking, racism, hoarding, social isolation, pandemic fear, desperation, and frustration. I tell myself I won't despair. I won't go against the most holy high of hope. God, I know that you are with me always, but help me get up. I must. My sons are watching me. My students need me. If I am to love and forgive as I have been loved and forgiven, then 2020, I will love you into submission. Enough. The teaching rod of love need not be used against me. My pastor proclaimed you the year of 2020 vision, the year of clarity and holy purpose. Suddenly became the year of survival. For whom shall I fear if God is with me? For in the darkness, I know the Lord is my joy and my light. And yet, in the safety of my home, I felt like running away. Surrounded by the loving warmth of my family, I felt trapped. Amongst the vibrant, rowdy health of my sons, I succumbed to the frustration of homeschool and work. Goodbye to weariness. Goodbye to canceled holidays. I miss my friends. I miss my life. A new year is upon us. We almost made it to the end, but this tribulation won't end. For Christmas this year, my diabetic elderly mom tested positive. My elderly father tested positive. My diabetic sister tested positive. And yet, I know all will be all right.
Big hearts. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
that took a lot of courage. You did
Thank you.
it. Let's give her love. Yeah, they're giving you love.
That was great. Oh my
That was,
goodness. Yes.
you opened it up. You're like,
Yeah.
I
Can you
was,
guys hear my wind chimes?
yeah, actually it was really pretty. Like it was like you were in like a meditative spot and then like the truth came out, you know, it's like from the womb right there, you know.
Mhm.
I was telling you, and then for everybody too, I was like Marina's poem, it trips me out. I feel like she set us up because she starts at the global perspective, the collective, right? Which is awesome because we're already invested in what you have to say. You were like, yeah, that's us, that's me, I feel you. And then you brought it to the personal, you know, at the end there, that twist that just like clenches you, makes you gasp because we're all like, you know, like prayers, you know, for you and everybody, your loved ones, and just like, you know, that's real. You can't get any realer than that, you know. That's everything. That's everything that, you know, like what you said, it's not over yet. The year's not over yet, you know.
No,
The
those are my.
survival. Yeah.
Oh, they're asking, is that the moon above your head? Oh, Scotty, yeah, yeah. It is the moon, huh? Beautiful. Leo problems.
Why
I
would
also
you?
love your hashtag. The Quora life was awesome.
Yeah.
Like we should all use that. We can hashtag that officially in the chat book, and then give you creds for that hashtag.
Oh, that's all over the place. I feel like
Oh,
that's
it is?
people are just like, I don't know. It's like weird. This is just a weird year, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like hashtag look at me. I'm like, you look at people's Insta feeds and it's like, look at me, what I'm doing. But like, yeah, at that moment. But what about the rest of the day?
Yeah.
What does the rest of your day look
I
like?
haven't even heard that. Is that a
No,
thing to
I
do
don't
that
know.
as a hashtag?
I only have a Facebook. I don't even go on the other things. But like
Okay.
that's how I feel.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's genius though.
Totally.
Like that is what folks are doing, and the hashtags are like how messages are being brought together, and like more people are, seeing these key messages that we're trying to leave, like breadcrumbs. But you're right. Like, what are you doing for the rest of the time? That's like a segment of your life, like a little moment. And a funny thing, it reminds me of James. He's another student in another class. He said he got his year in review. Like Facebook does it too. Like what you did last year. So he said his year in review this year was he saw this like so pathetic and so sad. Like it was me making a burrito, like I was planning something, and then I was watching TV, like that. It was just something,
All
like
at
two little
home.
things. Yeah, he's like, what more can I highlight, or what more am I showing off in my life? And he's like, usually I'd be, you'd see me at events and a party and this and that and doing things, Or we're like, well, yeah, let's, it's just that's our life. The Quora life. Hashtag Quora life.
Yeah, I use quarantine life. I was using
Mm.
quarantine life.
Mhm.
I stopped using it. But I was basically confined to taking pictures of food I was making because, we weren't really going outside. And then when I do go outside, I take some pictures and post those.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Can I would like to share my poem, but do you think you can pause the recording?
Definitely.
Sure.
All right, so that was Love Letters to 2020. That was our second workshop when we were looking at the positive. So I want to just again give you all a bunch of snaps and claps for sharing your poems with us tonight, for allowing yourself to write and go in that space. If you're either confronting the traumas or confronting the anger of 2020 in your love letter, or revealing the positive and embracing the changes. And, we all are constantly evolving and adapting with this year, which we'll almost be done with. So the next time we meet, next Wednesday, we'll be looking towards the future, to rebuilding our lives and the world around us and our place in it, however that looks for you. And, just looking to the future with hope. So that's where we'll be going next time. So I'll email everybody the slides from these last two meetings, just so you have them on hand if you want to refer to anything, or they can help inspire your poems. And like I said, you don't have to just write one love letter. You can have like 5, 20, how many you want, one for every month of quarantine or every week. There's things to be celebrated and noticed, and there's things to be, to confront and let go. So we definitely want to take that time to also let go and just acknowledge and move forward from the things that have hurt us this year too. So continue to write. Please email me your poems. Send them to Los Angeles Poet Society at gmail.com. So send your final proofread poem to me, and a dear, in a love letter to 2020. So it should start with Dear 2020. And then y'all take it from there. But thank you so much for joining the workshop tonight. Again, thank you for sharing. Thanks to the poets and writers. Thank you to poets and writers for supporting us on this journey, to be able to reach more community members and offer them a means to release and move on from this crazy 2020 year. So thank you so much. Yeah, if you didn't start with the Dear 2020, you can maybe plug it in and see how it sounds. If it sounds way like it doesn't fit, you don't have to have it. So no problem. Any other questions?
No, that's it. That's it. I'll just wait a bit so I can proofread it with fresh eyes, and then I'll
Yes,
send it to you.
perfect. All
Cool.
right.
Do you know, is it gonna be an electronic copy or
Yeah,
how?
yeah, it's going to be a digital release. So I'll make a
Okay.
chapbook and I'll be sending it to everybody, and we'll be viewing it together during our reading as well. So yeah, and
Cool.
but we are going to print some in the flesh as well. So but first we're going to release it digitally because it's a quick turnaround, and then I'll be able to print some and send the contributors, send you all a copy. Sound
Very
good?
cool.
All
Very
right,
cool.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone tuning in online. I'm Jessica with the LA Poet Society. Check us out, lapoetsociety.org. Support us. We have a campaign currently. It's the Los Angeles Poet Society Angels, 11-year Angels. It's on our GoFundMe page. Or you can just go to lapoetsociety.org, and there's a link there on the homepage. So thank you so much, and I will see you all next time. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.